Haribol, my brothers and my sisters, and welcome back to the nectar of the Srimad Bhagavatam. It's so amazing to see you back here. And if you're new, welcome to Astral Motivation. Here we talk all Vedic things from Vedic astrology to Vedic ancient scriptures. So if you like any of these things, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell in order for you to get the nectar in time. So guys, let's see what we have for the first verse of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Yes, we need a whole video for the first verse of the Srimad Bhagavatam.
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda.
Alrighty, my brothers and my sisters, let's start getting right into the nectar. But first, let's talk a little bit about what is the Srimad Bhagavatam. The Srimad Bhagavatam is one of the most important spiritual scriptures that you must know for your spiritual path. It's one of the most important scriptures of the Vedas. And when we read the Srimad Bhagavatam, we bring all auspiciousness into our lives, and it literally transforms the heart and it shows us the way for our spiritual ascension. So this is a very, very important scripture, and I decided in honor of the Srimad Bhagavatam to do this little series with you guys. So let's dive together into this nectar. Let's share it together, and make sure you subscribe and you hit the notification bell so that you don't miss any of the nectars. So guys, let's talk about the first verse of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Yes, we need a whole video to just understand the first verse of the Srimad Bhagavatam, because this first verse, for being the epic that Srimad Bhagavatam is, the first verse must be extremely, extremely powerful to establish what we're talking about, who we're talking about, and how we're going to be approaching this scripture. So this verse is very complex, but not to worry. We're going to dive deep together into this verse, and we're going to deconstruct what this all means, because there's so much nectar in just this first verse. So let's get to it. Om Agyanatimirandasya Jaya Shalakaya Chaksurmilitam Jenam Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Panchakalpatarunavasya cha kripa sindhu eva cha patitanam pavanambhyo vaishnanambhyo namo namaha. Namo mahavadayaya Krishna prema pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namigaurati Sve Namaha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagapate Gopesha Gopikanta Radhakanta Namosute Tapta Kancha Gorangi Radhe Vrindavaveshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Janmadya Yasya Yatonvayaditaratas Chartheshvavigyah Swarat Tene Brahma Hridaya Kavaye Muhyanti Yatsurayah Tejo Vadimridam Yatha Vinimayo Yatra Trisargo Mrisha Dhamna Svena Sada Nirastakuhakam Satyam Param Dhimahi.
Let us meditate upon the absolute truth, Krishna, who is the cause of creation, maintenance, and destruction of the universe, as the material and efficient cause, since he is the only knower of all objects and the only independent being, who revealed the Vedas to Brahma within his mind who is difficult to understand even for the learned, whose body is thought to be made of matter due to illusion, just as one mistakes fire, water, and earth for each other, and who negates all false arguments regarding his existence by possessing a transcendental, inconceivable form, and by the strength of the devotees experiencing him through his Swarup Shakti.
Who we are worshiping and meditating on is Krishna, the ultimate and absolute truth of all. So because this verse is pretty much explaining the supreme power and indicating that he is the number one in all, which he's the cause and effect of everything. He is the upadana karana. And because of this, because he is the cause and effect of everything, he is the major creator of creation, and he's the maintainer, and he's the destruction of all. All it resides within him, which is the anvayat. And everything that he's created outside of himself is based on him, which is the itarata. This shows that he is completely independent. He's the ultimate independent being of the universe because he's the one who created all, and everything is dependent on him, and he is not dependent on anything or anyone. We can also understand that he needs to be a very conscious being in order to create the universe, because he said, "Let me be many, let me create progeny," when he was using his glands to create universes. So this has to come from a conscious being to be able to be thinking this, and in order for him to be efficient, to be the material cause, and to be the efficient cause of everything that is beyond him. And it also talks about how, well, why wouldn't it be Brahma? Because in the verse it also talks about how he was the one who gave all the information and the Vedas and the knowledge to Brahma so that he can actually create everything. And so the question arises, well, why don't we worship Brahma? He's the creator. Well, the thing is that we can't really worship him because he was created from Krishna, and he wouldn't know how to create anything if it wasn't for Krishna revealing to him the knowledge of even his own self. Sarasvati is meant to teach Brahma what Krishna really is all about, and through this he can really be able to create everything that Krishna wants to create through him. So it doesn't really make sense to worship him. It makes sense to worship his creator. We also talk about that it's very difficult to understand him because he is so independent from everything that has been created, and a lot of even learned people get bewildered by him because they even think his body to be material, to be matter. And this is actually an illusion. His body cannot be matter. His body is made out of pure bliss, is faultless, because he's totally independent from the matter that he himself has created. So he reveals his true form to those that he chooses to. And that's when we understand that it is through his grace and through his mercy and through his devotees that he actually exposes himself to. And it depends also on the person's eyes and their mind and where they're at and what is it that they believe in. That Krishna is equal to all, and that he responds accordingly to how we approach him. So if we approach him with doubt, then he bewilders us. And if we approach him with devotion, then he shows his form to the ones that he chooses to. But he is beyond the three gunas being fire, earth, and water. He is beyond these because he's the creator of these. So he has a transcendental form that it's very difficult to grasp for us who are made out of these gunas, and who everything that we know to be is made out of these three gunas. But it is through his mercy that we can actually expand ourselves more and understand more and let go of this bewilderment. Everybody who thinks certain things about him will see him in a different way. One part that I really enjoyed, it was saying that demons will see Krishna as if he was a material form and he has faults, as his body is just a material thing that is affected by time, affected by the laws of physics, which was very interesting. Also, it's saying that his purest form is Madhura Ras. Madhura Ras is the in its highest expression, which is that sweetness, that pure sweetness in its highest expression is going to be through the divine couple of Radha and Krishna, and that's when we really get to understand. I mean, try to understand and to conceive what Madhura Ras is all about, but it is through this couple, and also because he is a transcendental form and he is beyond the material, he is beyond, the conceptions that he's created for us to understand logic, metaphors, these things. He's beyond it. We can't really understand who he is through material understandings. It has to be more of a transcendental understanding for us to be able to understand him more and to understand what he's really all about. And also, we hear in the last verse, in the last part, it says, the strength of the devotees experience him through his Swarupa Shakti. So it also talks about how bhakti is beyond the three gunas, and it's also independent of passion, the modes of passion, the modes of goodness, and the modes of ignorance, is beyond these things. And also that they don't have to necessarily do these Vedic sacrifices in order to be able to understand Krishna, that the only way that we can really understand Krishna is through that very strong devotion for him. And that's when we actually start experiencing the Swarupa Shakti that he is. And it is through the practice of bhakti that we can get to these things. And also, the only way for us to be able to get to this is through the right association for somebody to actually understand, and is the association of the devotees of Krishna. And it is through the mercy of them that we can, it trickles down to us and helping us become more authentic and true to our bhakti practice. And little by little, we can start feeling the mercy more and more. It is, it's really beautiful, because the only way that we can really get to know Krishna is if through the sincerity of our heart and the spontaneity and the love that we have for him. And it's not through a ritual, it's not through a practical way, it's not through these material steps that we can actually attain him. And this, I guess, is what bewilders that side of us that is more logical, because it requires the heart, it requires the spirit to actually get to know him, and it requires the practice of that, the practice of the spiritual practice in order for us to get to that. And it also, something that it also says here is that the Bhagavatam is a way that we can receive that grace, of course, because the Bhagavatam is Krishna himself, and that, of course, everybody's going to receive the understanding of the Bhagavatam according to their evolution and where they are in their heart and their relationship with God, the relationship with Krishna that they have. So it's going to be something that the Bhagavatam almost like morphs with your heart, almost morphs with your spirit and your vision and the level of evolution that you are, so that you can really gain something from it. So I'm sure that you can read the Bhagavatam every single year of your life, and you will always gain something more every single time.